Hi everyone, welcome to this GCP for Dummies channel. This series is based on the Associate Cloud Engineering exam provided by Google Cloud. We're going to go step by step in our prep for this exam. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and I wish you the best of luck in your exam. Let's have a look at our next topic. Cloud services. First, let's have a look at what cloud services are. These are services sold to customers by cloud companies. It can be compute resources, storage options, networking solutions, or specialized services. If we look at compute resources, types include VMs, virtual machines, managed Kubernetes clusters, and serverless computing. If you don't know what these are, don't worry, we'll be going into them in further detail in this video and in the upcoming few videos. Storage options include object storage, file storage, block storage, and cache. I think you might be familiar with cache and a few of the others, but if you're not, again, we will go into these in detail, so don't worry. Networking might be IP addressing, DNS, and load balancing. These are quite specific to Google Cloud. And then we'll have a look at VPN, VPC, and firewalls, which are general for most cloud providers. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and VPC is Virtual Private Cloud. Specialized services are different for different cloud providers, and for Google Cloud, it's APIs, which is management of APIs in your systems, and data analysis, and AI and machine learning options for you and your team. Let's have a look first at bit by bit. First, let's have a look at the keywords. Let's go through one by one, explain what they are, and if we're not sure, let's pause and go back. Keywords, we've got virtual machine, also known as a VM. It's the basic building unit of any compute resource. We'll learn how to make these and what you need to make these in a minute. We have IaaS, which is infrastructure as a service, and this is where you rent the actual infrastructure that's on the cloud's data center. Remember from the last video, the cloud is an actual data center. It's not just not physically accessible to you. We have PaaS, which is platform as a service, and you use the serverless compute resources which are available on the cloud's platform. In our case, this is the Google Cloud platform. Clusters are groups of containers or groups of virtual machines that you can manage as one. We'll learn about these as well. A region in GCP refers to areas of the world. The world globally is split into continents, and then on each continent it's split further into regions. For an example, you can have US Central or US West. Zones split these regions even further. So you'll have US Central A, US Central B, US West A, and US West B. You can choose these depending on where you need the data center to be to provide the best outcome for your company. Containers are lightweight virtual machines. They isolate each process that's running on that container from all the other containers. We'll have a look at these too. App Engine and Cloud Functions are PaaS. They are platforms as a service, and you'll be able to have a look at these specifically on the Google Cloud Console. Let's move on. First, we're going to look at compute resources, specifically virtual machines. Virtual machines fall under IaaS. They are an infrastructure as a service. We can create these virtual machines in GCP under Compute Engine because they are a compute resource. We can specify a name. Please note the name has to be unique to the virtual machine, not just within your network, but globally as well. You can choose a region or a zone, and remember from our last definition what regions and zones are. Then you'll be able to choose a machine type, which specifies a CPU and memory, and finally you can choose a boot disk. It doesn't end there though. You can add storage and you can add other configurations depending on your use case and what you need. The next step of compute resources is managed Kubernetes clusters. What are Kubernetes clusters? First, let's understand what Kubernetes is. And Kubernetes is a confusing concept for some people. Let's break it down to one sentence. Kubernetes is an orchestration platform. It pretty much tells clusters of containers and virtual machines how to behave and when. If you're not sure what this is talking about, we'll go through it in the future. We'll have a couple of diagrams and it will get clearer. But for now, we just need to know that it's an orchestration platform for containers and virtual machines. Kubernetes clusters are managed clusters of virtual machines or containers. What we mean by managed means that you don't have to set the configurations for each one. You just create a group and add the virtual machines or containers that you want to it and do one entire configuration for all the virtual machines or containers in your cluster. We need Kubernetes because it removes a layer of management, so your team doesn't have to work on creating configurations per virtual machine and per container. You could just do it once for the group. Next, the final component of compute resources are serverless computes. And what we mean by serverless doesn't actually mean that there is no server behind what's happening. There is a server. It just means that you don't have to manage the server directly. So the server exists, but the cloud provider manages it for you. We've got two types of serverless computing on GCP. These are Cloud Functions and App Engine, and we will go through them in detail because they come up in the exam quite a bit. Let's recap one final time. This is what our breakdown looks like. We've got compute resources, which divide into virtual machines that are an infrastructure as a service, and we can find them under Compute Engine in the Google Cloud Console. We have managed Kubernetes clusters, and then we have serverless computing, which are a platform as a service, and you can find these under Cloud Functions and App Engine in the Cloud Console. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe, and let's get on to the next concept. Good luck.